guys, Chuke here with Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. I wanted to show you the main nightstand gun that I use. And what's cool about this gun is even though I have a $1,400 SIG and some of these other fancy guns that are could be considered high-end, this is a $300 police trade-in. And I'm going to tell you why it's my favorite gun, and I believe it's the most reliable nightstand gun specifically I can have. This is a HK USP in 40 Smith & Wesson. I did some stuff to it and I'll talk about that, but this is a police trade-in. I got this from Spectre Tactical. I talked them down to 300 bucks. I could not resist that. What a steal. So I got this pistol for $300. It came with night sights. The rear ones are pretty dim, but the front one is decent. And that's to be expected with a police trade-in. But the reason that I like this gun so much is just because it's so reliable. The USP has a rich history. It was originally developed from the Mark 23 that HK made for military use, and when they made the USPs for the public at large, it was designed around the 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge, which is awesome. It wasn't designed around the 9mm, and then they had to build up the slide. So it's just heavy duty. It's designed around the 40 Smith & Wesson, and I encourage you to watch Chris Bartocci's video from Small Arms Solutions. It's on Full 30 about the history of the USP, and that's what really made me get into these, was watching that video a few times. It's just incredible, some of the things he talks about. The main takeaway that I took from it is the original Mark 23, it wasn't supposed to be just a sidearm. It was supposed to be its own assault weapon in its own. That's why it was so big, and the sights were really big, and it had the tactical threaded barrel, the light mount, and they based that off the Mark 23 when creating these USPs. Now this is one from the early 90s, and the thing about this is it's never going to break on me. They have a proprietary recoil system with the double springs. It's different than the ones in the Gen 4 Glocks. You see the guide rod is huge and the springs are big. There's nothing like this on the market still to this day, and this is a Cold War weapon. And it's just so far ahead of its time. When I shoot this 40 Smith & Wesson, it feels like the recoil of a 9mm. I mean, I can shoot this just as well as a 9mm, which is saying a lot, because some people find this 40 Smith & Wesson really snappy compared to 9mm. Totally reliable. Chuck will argue a little bit that he had some jams, but that's because I forgot to give him the magazine, and he was shooting it without a magazine. But I've never had a jam with this. And what is cool is I installed this light. It's got this weird proprietary mounting rail, which is kind of lame because it's not a standard rail. So you got to get this special light that's made, this old TLR3. So I got that on it, which is pretty cool. We got the light. The weapon is clear, by the way. There's nothing in there. And it is the LEM trigger, which I wasn't too happy about. I'd rather have something with a decocker on the side. So it's almost every time is a double action pull, but I'm getting used to it, and I think it's good training, especially since I like revolvers. So I still like it even with that, the double action only. It's more of a double single action, but Chuck thinks it's double action only, which it's not. And then I put the jet funnel on it. Now I didn't even know what the heck a jet funnel was. A jet funnel for such an old gun, talk about being ahead of its time. I wanted more capacity, and then I looked it up, and it's the jet funnel. So we have these 16 round mags for the 40 Smith & Wesson, and you put this metal base plate, this Magwell, that's metal, and you easy to install. You install that, and suddenly you've turned this into a really full-sized, high capacity 16 rounds. Now I notice with all 16 rounds in there and one in the chamber, you really have to push it in, which I don't like. So I usually just fill them with 15 rounds, and then they slide in really easy. but it's not that big of a deal because a 15+1 of 40 Smith & Wesson is incredible. Now this thing is so reliable, and Chris Bartacci will talk to this, how you'll never wear the springs down. There's some of these that have just been shooed thousands and thousands of rounds. The spring system is so heavy duty, it just doesn't wear out. So I'm confident that this is going to fire and not malfunction. And because of I prefer 40 Smith & Wesson over 9mm, this is my nightstand gun. Now I've got extreme penetrators in it right now. I'm going to get some, I've also got some Federal HST, but Chuck put these through his chrono and they weren't really getting what the box said, so it wasn't that great. The Underwood ammo, though, always gets it over what the box says, sometimes like 100 feet per second. So I am going to get some Underwood hollow points. But let me know what you guys think for a $300 gun and then putting a little bit of money into it with this Magwell system and the light. I think you can't go wrong. And this is actually my favorite gun, even though I've got the whatever $1,400 Legion and all that other stuff. This old police trade-in's my favorite gun, even though it's a $300 gun. It's just that awesome. The only thing I'm going to do is get a tactical barrel for it. You know, it's $230 or something like that. I can get a threaded barrel to put it on there, and then it'll be more similar to like something looking like a Mark 23. So let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up or thumbs down. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
Outdoor adventure. No.